so I was looking around online for inexpensive cymbals, as I tend to do, when I came across these low volume cymbals on Amazon. The entire set came in at $68, which was surprisingly low, especially when I considered how highly rated they were. So I went to YouTube where I found very few demos, and frankly, what I did hear in those brief demos was pretty surprising. As usual, I smashed that buy it now button, and to be honest, how could I resist with this tagline? Now, there definitely could have been more packing material used, however, each cymbal was in its own plastic sleeve, and luckily they weren't damaged. In this kit, you get a 20-inch ride, an 18 and 16-inch crash, as well as a set of 14-inch hi-hats, all made from stainless steel. Now, it seems that these hi-hat cymbals aren't marked for top and bottom, so I think this calls for a weigh-in of all the cymbals. 1,125 grams, 871 grams, 688 grams. The first hi-hat is 507 grams. All right, now let's go in with the second hi-hat. And would you believe it, the other hi-hat is exactly the same weight, right at 507 grams. Now let's test the cymbals to see which ones sound best, as well as seeing if we can get some half-decent decibel comparisons. Now, I would say that the strong point for this set, without a doubt, are the larger cymbals. They have a surprisingly full-bodied sound considering all of the drilling. The weak point in this kit, I would say, are the cymbals under 18 inches. They just have a very wispy, white noise type of sound, and just not enough body in my opinion. Now, one of the things I saw you guys talking about online is that these seem to be louder than other low-volume cymbals. And to some degree, I would say this is true. The holes do seem to be smaller and less densely packed than I've seen on other sets. Now, I realize that testing decibels using an iPhone is probably not very scientific, but let's at least see if we can compare the difference between normal cymbals and the low-volume cymbals. Interestingly enough, it seems like the Sonicakes actually aren't much quieter. And that's assuming that my iPhone 11 can actually be trusted. But the graph did seem to show significantly less mid-tone frequencies coming from the Sonicakes. And to my ears, this makes them seem a lot quieter. Also, at least from my understanding, high frequencies tend to have less of an ability to travel through walls with ease. So this actually might be by design. Whether you're buying these cymbals for their low volume or not, this kit really is a great deal, especially considering the sound of the 20-inch and the 18-inch cymbals. But stay tuned, as I will likely use these cymbals for some pretty cool mod projects here in the near future.